music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who just rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Greetings, citizens of Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the show that blows away the competition as it analyzes, Tim Burton's Batman Returns 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I am the other host, Niall McGowan. I can verify that too, because those Dark Knight Minute guys, haven't heard much from them lately, have you? So if you wonder whatever happened to them.
Some would think that maybe they're between seasons. But anyway.
Well, maybe when this airs, they're not.
Yeah, I know, yeah, it's going to sound like we're just being shady. We are not being shady, honest. But yes, we are back. We are joined by a very special guest, who I'm sure you have all heard before. From 5 Minutes of Mystery, it is Dave Pallas.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. I'm really excited to talk about this movie.
Hey, is it your favorite Batman? Please say yes.
It's definitely it's so hard because like I do like this movie because God, the city looks amazing. I think the city definitely looks like its best in this movie because the realism Nolan stuff is just what if it was Chicago or a mix between Chicago and Pittsburgh and I tell you I think I like. Man, it's hard because all right. I'm glad we're talking about this like right up front because it always bugs me every time someone talks to me about Batman. I always have to say this one thing, and we can talk about it more next year, no problem. But it's like I'm torn between things I like Keaton does and things I like Val Kilmer does.
Oh, okay, that's a shock. I mean, I have no problem with Val; he's fine, but to actually be very excited by things he's doing is interesting.
Well, I think that's what it is. You're right, because I mean, when we think about Michael Keaton's Batman, the first thing we think of is like, you want to get nuts, that just violent, just burst of rage. But like, I like Val Kilmer as a man who's like, he's dead inside. Like he's like a Bruce Wayne that's gone the other way, where he's like so compartmentalized and bottled up. He's very calm. He doesn't raise his voice, and it's just like because he's like a man who's like, I'm trying to keep my stuff together right now because I'm dealing with a lot of grief and anger. And so I'm just going to be a professional businessman right now here at Wayne Enterprises. And then when he doesn't get angry at solving the riddles. He's just like, interesting. He's very, and when he says lines like, I choose to be Batman, I kind of like that way. I don't think any other Batman's ever approached that, as I'm saying.
I like that, actually. I always just attributed that to him being bored. But I really like your view on it.
Sociopath Batman. A Bruce Wayne who is just, like, he knows that he's like a dead man inside. And all he has is justice. More. Whereas everyone's like, what if I just went angrier? What if I just made an angrier Batman? This is like, what if I was just almost psychopathic?
Yeah, that's kind of creepy. I like it.
That's why I like it, because it makes you feel... It does, in a weird way, it makes you feel comfortable. And I think that's why Nicole Kidman is a psychiatrist in it. It's like it can bring up more of those thoughts of, why does Val Kilmer's Batman like that? And you think more about it. So that's what... The
only other person who I can remember doing something like that is... what's the actor's name? But that Ryan from the OC, who's Jim Gordon in Gotham now. Because he did the voice of Batman in the Year One adaptation. And he played it entirely like I've just gone beyond the edge and I have no emotions left. And it's just like everything about him. It seemed like, is he just boring, or is it the note he's decided to set his flag into? It's just like, everything is 100% calm and collected all the time.
I definitely think the Christian Bale voice, it probably turned a lot of people off from going that way again. They're like, I'm not going to go overly aggressive when I talk. Because everyone's going to say, oh man, you do that Christian Bale Batman again. So everyone's like, what if I went calm, no emotion, and I know everything about everyone's weakness in this room? That's the other way to play it.
Oh, I like that. Oh, what if we had a Batman that sounded like this? That's what I want.
This coming next week, Fran Drescher as Batman.
I would be on board.
I gotta break every bone in your body now, Joker.
Please make this someone. Oh my god, I've completely forgotten we're here to talk about a minute of Batman Returns.
Good warm up.
Yeah, good warm up. We're just, flexing our muscles, getting back into the groove. This is minute 55. And the minute starts with some disco inferno. And it ends with people getting loose, y'all. Getting down on the roof. Folks are screaming, out of control. It was so entertaining when the boogie started to explode.
See, I like this because, disco is heavily featured in Mystery Men. So we had the Disco Boys. So Disco Boys would be a perfect gang in Gotham.
Oh, that would be cool. I could imagine them fitting right in.
Yeah. I will say also that people would have heard this in the previous episode, but I never usually talk about what was written down for the outros. But I was very happy that it was next time, Dismal Inferno. I was really patting myself in the back. I was like, oh, that's good. That's actually a good one.
Why didn't I reference that in the intro there then? Oh, god damn it.
That's fine. I don't think people come. All they talk about is friggin' Disco Inferno in this show.
Hey, we just love disco. I mean, we love the groove.
Disco and bringing justice into the city.
Hell yes. So we are back here with the Penguin and Max as Oswald comes up with what I can only assume is going to be his campaign slogan. Burn, baby, burn.
Well, that's the weird thing. Because I've looked into the etymology of the phrase "burn, baby, burn." It's is it just from the song by the Tramps, or I guess double M, so Tramps. I don't know if that's the way they want that to be said. But of course, so you think, immediately Disco Inferno. But it predates that, actually. It seems it originally came from a poem called Burn, Baby, Burn by Marvin X, who was a black poet in the mid-'60s, talking about the oppression of people of color in America. And what inspired him was the Watts riots of August 1965 in L.A., which, we wouldn't have heard, mostly because we're 90s kids. We'll remember the L.A. riots. But the Watts riots were friggin' huge, apparently. They were the biggest riots in L.A. up until the L.A. riots. It started with a person of color, Margit Fry, was pulled over. He was on parole for robbery, pulled over for reckless driving. And then an argument with the arresting officer sparked a bit of a fight, and then the people surrounding it said that the police kicked a pregnant woman. And then this sparked into a bigger fight, which erupted into a riot, which resulted in nearly 4,000 members of the California Army National Guard been helped to suppress the disturbance, and it resulted in 34 deaths and $40 million in property damage. So pretty big.
Yeah, holy crap.
So that's where the phrase "burn, baby, burn" comes from. Is from a poem that was inspired by these riots. And then the Tramps, years later, they said, we were inspired by a scene from the Towering Inferno. Which is well, wait, you got "Burn, Baby, Burn" in there. Are you trying to, there actually is a political subtext to the song?
It's secretly really deep, yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if it was. No, it's actually inspired by this one poem. But, we just, it has something to do with the Towering Inferno as well.
Was Penguin inspired by the poem?
Well, that's what got me thinking, is that are they trying to say that, are they equating that the Red Triangle Gang, as who are rioters, with the oppressed, people of color of America? Is that what they're trying to go for? These outcasts are a bit like those people?
Yeah, it doesn't work, but maybe that's what they're thinking.
No, that doesn't work, because then you keep thinking, I know that we've talked many times about, they try to paint the Penguin as sympathetic, but at the same time, he's still a sleazy, perverted guy who, in the past, we've already talked about it, he has definitely killed children already. He's already a pervert child murderer. Why would you think that you could just he's just like all those African American writers in the 60s?
Yeah.
That's crazy. You can't do that, Tim. Are you mental?
That is weird. But, I mean, it's possible. He hasn't mentioned it. as is his usual want to not talk about things.
Yeah. But it also struck me, well, two other things struck me, is that one, this is total trailer line stuff, and I looked into it.
Yeah.
Yes, this is played in the first trailer,
Yeah,
where it should be like, yeah, of course they're going to play the Burn Baby Burn line. And yep, it says that, and you got a bunch of shots of the Red Triangle gang rampaging through the city. And I also was just questioning, he's saying this to his campaign office. So what are they taking from it? Like,
yeah, this is one of the things I've written down. Like, what a weird thing for him to shout. Like, won't they all be kind of like, this guy's crazy?
What are we supposed to think? Like, he's inspiring us to like burn the candle at both ends or something? Or what was he talking about?
Yeah, so is his, like, between him and Max at least, is the plan we're going to cause a chaos in the city with the gang, and then we're going to make sure we're distanced from the gang, clean up the gang, congratulate ourselves for cleaning up the gang. That's why you should vote for me for mayor? Is that like the plan? Is that the plan here?
I think it's a combination of that's kind of like the second phase of it, because what he initially wants to do is make the current mayor look incompetent.
Okay, yeah.
Because there isn't an election. They've just had an election. So he wants to get the mayor recalled, and then he'll clean up the gang and be like, hey, look how great I am.
Yeah, but to do so, he needs a catalyst to trigger Gulf of Tonkin, the Reichstag fire, which apparently was the thing that really sold the Penguin on it, was the Reichstag fire.
Yes, he was inspired by the Nazi party there.
Again, what too many cross purposes. I'm going to assume that Dan Waters and Tim Burton didn't know where the phrase "Burn Baby Burn" actually came from, because if that's what they're trying to do, that is weird. Like that's not something they should have touched upon.
Well, I also thought it was weird because, I mean, the Penguin likes the cold. And he's talking about burning things. It's like, that's a bit strange.
Well, he wants to burn all the shelter. He takes you down to your most basic resource. You don't even have shelter now. Here comes the cold, and the Penguin thrives in the cold.
Oh, you've uncovered what he means. That's the hidden deep meaning.
It's like, well, he's just like, oh, you can all burn outside. I'm gonna sit with my fridge open in a nice cold apartment.
That just turns into the Simpsons though, and it's the heat wave. And
well, that's where he got his inspiration from. It's like, oh, that's a great idea.
I also really like the look on Max's face when Penguin shouts this, because even though, of course, they've got a little nefarious scheme going on together, even Max is kind of like, okay, I guess. Like, even he's like, yeah, okay, that's what we're going with. Yeah.
My buildings are in the city. Just a heads up,
Oh,
I live here
point.
too.
That would be such an easy way to distance yourself from the gang, actually. Get them to destroy some of your buildings. Some of the ones you don't care about,
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta get that insurance claim to go through first. Hold on, don't blow it up yet.
Yeah. Plus, we also know that Max Schreck owns, half the fire traps in Gotham City.
Yeah.
So he knows which are the most flammable ones that will go up.
Oh, God, no, people are going to die. God damn it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure in this minute, we see people, we don't see them physically die, but like these places get blown up. There's open shops or stores for American audiences. There's definitely people dying in them. Like,
yeah,
I would think so, because we cut then to a shot of the poodle. We assume it's the poodle lady's dog, and it is now enacting the grand plan. It blows up a restaurant or a wine bar or a deli. What is this? I don't know what it is. I can't really make it out.
I was going to say a deli, yeah. Oh, and one line about Burn Baby Burn. That's what I was trying to find out earlier today. I couldn't find it where, but I remember playing. I know I had it on Genesis, but maybe I was at a friend's house playing Super Nintendo. But I remember, like a 4-pixel picture of penguins saying "Burn Baby Burn," and it was always a level I failed constantly. So every time I saw it, I went, "Oh, this is gonna suck." Like I just
brought back painful memories.
Yeah, I'd be like, I can't beat these games before I ever turn them back to Blockbuster.
Oh God, I used to remember that was the worst thing. Like, I've only got a few days. I need to finish this damn game. I'll just use cheats.
I was really hoping there you were going to say that. Like in the game they have like the 8-bit version or the 64-bit version of like the Danny Elfman Batman themes. It's like, and then as soon as this kicks in, it just goes into like a 64-bit version of Disco Inferno. Or something. Like that's the whole level. It's just.
Yeah, most of the I was just listening to you. Most of the music in that game is like if you get a little bit, you get that, and the rest of it is like. It's like sounds like just like Contra. It's just like just miscellaneous like now you're Batman walk through the city beating up clowns. Like, all right, that doesn't really work as great as Elfman's. But yeah, man, I want to call this for the moment the poodle music. This music is creepy. Like, man, Danny Elfman and Tim Burton know how to creep you out with the music.
But it's the typical Tim Burton and Danny Elfman version of creepy. It's like kind of silly at the same time and cute almost.
Well, it's like
still
do you
scary.
think this is cute, Tim Burton? Do you think this is cute? Is this what you think, man? Yikes.
It's cute. Look at the little dog with the grenade.
Just imagine like Danny Elfman ringing him up and Tim, I've bought a xylophone. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to hear this one.
Yeah, you gotta come over here to this.
Well, I have a question here as well about the dog, right? How exactly does it pull the pin? Do you picture it? Is it using its mouth? Is it using its paws? What's it doing exactly? How is it blowing up this damn place?
I mean, I guess she's taught it well. It puts the grenade on the ground with the handle. It puts its paw on the handle. Chew pulls up the pin, and then the cling, the handle of the grenade goes, and it's like, all right, and I go.
Yeah, I like the way it knows to leave when it does that as well.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is that there's anything with a grenade now instantly reminds me of the episode of It's Always Sunny, where like Mac and Charlie are trying to fake their own deaths. So they try we'll crash the car and it'll blow up, and then they crash the car and it doesn't blow up. So then they go to like a pawn shop and they buy a grenade and they're like, this is gonna blow it up, and then they throw the grenade into the car and it just makes a real like it's an explosion, but it's exceptionally minor. And they're like, I thought this thing was going to just obliterate this car. No, that's not the way grenades work. They're not that big. So, like, yeah, the fact that this completely blows up this entire storefront instead of just like, it'll blow out the windows, it'll blow off a chunk of the floor, but it wouldn't do anywhere near this level of damage.
Hey, pastrami's flammable.
I was saying, yeah, maybe the poodle lady, like, she's also like their armaments expert, and she like extra packed it with gunpowder. She's like, ooh, gotta put extra cherry bombs in this bad boy.
Well, there's a lot of wine in there too. I guess if it's like a nice fancy restaurant, maybe they got a lot of liquors and stuff behind the bar as well. You never know what other flammable materials are in there.
I think this place, to me, it looks like a small place. I don't want to say a deli. Kind of halfway between a deli and a restaurant. I don't know what you want to call it. It has a bistro, perfect, because it has a Parisian vibe, I think. So I imagine you might have a glass of red wine there at that table in the window.
That looks like I've got a pause on the window. It looks either it's a decanter of wine or it's a very big bottle of vinegar.
Yeah.
Which I don't think's a big thing in America. So, like, you get that here, maybe not that big.
I mean, yeah, but I love balsamic and red wine vinegar, but yeah, you only need a little bit on your salad. You only need a little bit.
England is crazy for vinegar. Not the nice vinegar that you probably know.
Well, I mean, I'll admit, I got a new bottle of malt vinegar because this is what I do. The British people are gonna love this. You're gonna love what I do. I get a can of Heinz beans, not even the Bush's beans. I get a can of Heinz beans. And then I do a light rinse to take out a lot of the ketchup. I don't like too much ketchup in my beans. Then put it in a bowl. Then malt vinegar the beans, stir that up. Then you heat it.
Oh, that would be nice, actually. That would be good.
Yeah.
I'm on board with
an instant mental image, though, of like Dave looking at his window later and all the British Batman listeners out there with forks and pitchforks and torches. Like, what'd you say?
You gotta love how I make the beans. You're gonna love this.
See, now we're very precious about our beans. We love our beans, but we love our vinegar, so...
I think as people who've listened to my week on Watchmen Minute may recall, I hate beans.
Yeah, you're a freak, though.
Yeah, but baked. I literally cannot stand the sight of them. So you like that whole that intricate recipe, Dave. That's going to be murder for me to edit that. It's going to I have to think about beans this whole time now.
Thank God.
But
thank God
it's got less ketchup.
Yeah, I love ketchup. Don't get me wrong, but not on the beans. I like my beans a little bit more plain flavored. But then again, and then I add the malt vinegar after the fact. I couldn't find Heinz malt vinegar too. I was trying to keep with the theme, couldn't find it, but I got another bottle of malt vinegar. That's one thing.
Is there
America.
a Heinz one?
Yeah, well, Heinz. I was saying that's the thing is like for everything, all the stuff Heinz does in America, I feel like there's a lot more Heinz stuff in the European countries.
Oh yeah. Like I always think it is European, but is it? I don't actually know.
No, it's from Pennsylvania.
Oh, there you go.
Really?
Yeah,
I just assumed it was German or something.
I think it is like historically. Isn't
the family is, but yeah, like the Heinz ketchup and stuff, like that's like a Pennsylvania thing, and then all their varieties of things, and then you go to Europe, and if you wanted steak sauce, you're not really gonna get steak sauce, but you'll get is Heinz 57 sauce.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I've never had it, but I've seen it.
It's essentially more pepper vinegary ketchup, so it's like more of a darker. And it's supposed to be like a multi-purpose condiment. That's another thing I find when I only went to Berlin for a week, so I don't know anything about the long-term stuff of European stuff. But it feels like that, like Europe doesn't do a lot of condiments compared to America. So we're big on condiments. We're big on ice in our glasses.
Oh yeah, you can't get ice here. I was at a show recently where the act was actually complaining about that. That was one of the things they brought up. They're like, why do you not have ice?
I know.
What is wrong with you people?
God, we just love clinking our ice in our glasses. I don't know what to tell you. We're just...
I do know people. It's a friend of mine, actually, former and future guest of the show, Gary Gavigan. He's obsessed with getting ice and things. Like, and the thing is, from living with him previously, he'll constantly go out and buy those like 1 pound giant bags of ice.
I do that, to be honest.
But taking up an entire shelf of the freezer to put it in. It's like, there's other people living here, dude. What are you doing?
I suppose there's only 2 of us in this house. It's fine.
Yeah, buy an ice tray. It's not. Yeah, that's what us Americans do. We got our ice trays. We freeze our water and then we put it in our glass later.
I'm not a fan of the ice tray. I don't like it.
Really? You got this is like another revelation now. Things I've discovered John hates this year. Gene Wilder, WhatsApp, and now ice cube trays. What's your beef with ice cube trays?
There's multiple beefs. Beef? What's the plural? I'm not sure. But first you fill the tray, then you need to get it to the freezer without spilling the water.
No, that's impossible. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
You just get used.
It goes on your socks. It's the worst.
He's right, folks. He's right.
And then also,
there's no possible ways around this at all. You couldn't just wear shoes. Ways. You couldn't just be extra careful. It's like,
can't.
This is a total inevitability that this will definitely happen if you buy an ice cream tray.
And then unless they're those fancy new modern rubber ones, they always break. They crack when you try and get the ice cubes out of the damn thing because they're plastic and it's a nightmare to get them out. I hate it. You end up bashing the thing in.
I have an ice cube tray that I can get it into the freezer with minimal spillage.
Hey.
2, I think it was about maybe £2, and it is it's plastic now, and I've never had one instance of trouble of getting ice out of it.
Oh, you're weird. I do have one rubber one, which is fine, but the ice cubes are small because I went for a novelty one that's shaped like Berlin's Ampelmann.
I got that one too!
Yes!
I got it while I was there. I got it at the gift store.
Yes! You went to the Ampelmann store. Me too.
Goddamn right I did.
Ampelmann is like the greatest thing in the world.
That guy's fun. I wish we had a guy like that. We just have regular stick figures.
Yeah, same. It makes just crossing the road an enjoyable experience.
I feel next. I've been to Berlin. I did not buy an ice cream tray while I was there.
Oh,
I feel like I'm missed out now.
Yeah.
Only losers don't buy Ampelmann ice cream trays.
Yeah. I have to say though, that was a good phrase. I went there. It was the week of the beer festival they have there, and like, oh my god, it was a good time. Plus, too, that like the hostels they have there, like it's a drinking city, so they're just encouraging you to drink all the time, and there's minimal security because they just know the people there are all nice, so they're like, oh, no one's going to do anything, and nobody does. And then I remember coming back to the hostel like 2 a.m. and finding a guy we had lost earlier today just hanging out by a vending machine that was serving bottles of beer for €1. And I was like, this place is the greatest place on earth. Everyone should come here.
Honestly, I think Germany should sue Eli Roth. I think that movie did a lot of harm to their hostile community.
I think it probably did. Yeah.
I think all the deleted scenes of Hostel, like, oh, there's only €1 for a beer out of a vending machine. It's great.
Yeah,
I would just recommend people go to Berlin in general. To be honest, it's the coolest. I love it.
Yeah.
I accidentally ended up at that beer festival. I didn't even know it was on, and I was just going down that part of the city because I wanted to look at the old sort of Soviet-inspired architecture, and I walked into the giant beer festival. I was like, whoa!
That's like when we went. Like, it was actually 10 years ago this summer. So it's over 10 years now. But it's like the time, it was me and a couple of friends, we were driving around Europe. It was like the 3-week holiday that we did. And we went to Zurich on a Saturday. And we're just like, oh, no, we just need to pop into Zurich and, just to get breakfast or something. And then we didn't realize it was the same day as like the Sexual Liberation Festival. So there's like hundreds of people just walking around the city in like fetish gear and like all this, and everyone is out. Like, no, the whole city is into this, and we're just kind of like, what the is happening in Zurich?
My kind of city. That's good.
It was great. It was great, but it was really like, is this because we didn't immediately catch on? Oh, it's obviously the Sexual Liberation Festival.
Of course,
we were just like, is this just what Zurich's like? This place is great.
24 hours a day. Sounds a bit like Gotham, actually, tying it back into this. It's people walking around like doing whatever they want.
I was so excited when I found out this. I need to talk about the poodle here. Ratty Poodle, as she's referred to in the Batman Wikia, is a bit judgmental. The poodle lady's working with what she's got in the sewer. Give her a break. But this poodle is played by a dog called Darla, and Darla is like, I had no idea before looking into this, is like a superstar dog because she was tragically, she died soon after this film came out. Lived from 1975 to 1992, but she also features in The Burbs. She's Fifi. She's the pink poodle in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Nice.
Yes.
Her and Tim obviously had a rapport.
Bringing back his regular cast,
Yeah. She featured in episodes of Coach and Erie, Indiana.
Oh, yes, I loved that.
Yeah, and then the big one is she's Precious from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, I thought you meant from Precious.
Yeah, so the infamous, like, the Goodbye Horses scene of Buffalo Bill, the Dick Tuck, and all that business.
Yeah.
When Catherine Martell's trying to get the dog, and that dog, Precious, that's this dog.
Can I just say, when you said, Buffalo Bill and Dick Tuck, I was like, who's Dick Tuck? I don't remember it.
Oh, boy.
Oh, you weren't there.
Hi-ya.
That was actually a thing we had. Weirdly enough, coincidentally enough, just yesterday, my episodes of Clerks 2, Clerks Minutes aired, and we were talking about the Goodbye Horses scene in that because it's the bit where Jay does it. But
everything's connected.
Yeah, but I don't know. You probably weren't there then, or maybe if you came later, John. But there was a night where we watched that, and I remember former guest of the show, Gaz Flint. He kind of went down a Google hole of researching things about like Q Lazarus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he looked up Dick Tuck, just in reference to Silence of the Lambs, and he found out that there was a U.S. senator called Dick Tuck, and I'd never seen him laugh as hard. He was shrieking with laughter.
We got the
for about a good 15 minutes.
Are you sure this wasn't a sketch on Drag Race?
No, I remember you see him. He's just this really boring-looking, like gray-haired, just white middle-aged man. I was like, why would you at least call yourself Richard Tuck? But I guess maybe he's just like, no, I'm leaning into it. I know people are gonna make fun of me for it, so I'm taking it. I'm accepting it.
Yeah, I suppose own it.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, because of the tragic death then of Darla in 1992, because that was then the year before like Frasier erupted. Of course, then Moose, who played Eddie, would become the most famous dog in the world after that. So Darla was usurped. It would seem to me. So in memoriam to Darla, I think we should give her due.
Pour one out.
Yeah, totally. Pour one out.
Mm-hmm.
And do you that's a thing that got me thinking though. Is there like currently like a famous dog in the world? Because you used to always have Lassie, and then you would have had maybe Darla had her moment in the sun, Moose obviously, but in TV currently, there's no like famous dog. There's no canine or anything like that.
I'll tell you a small anecdote. This is before my time, but recently, I think it might have been last year's Super Bowl or maybe 2 years Super Bowl. Bud Light tried to bring back a character named Spuds MacKenzie. And
is this what they make fun of on Futurama? Slurms McKenzie.
Yeah. So Spuds MacKenzie.
I didn't realize that was.
He's a character from like the early '80s. So as I said, like it's before my time. But yeah, it was essentially a dog in a Hawaiian shirt that would help you get your Bud Light. And so they brought back the ghost of Spuds MacKenzie in this one recent Bud Light commercial. And I'm like, hey, God bless, you're trying to do it, but I don't know. Like, it's the canon of Spuds MacKenzie. This is a tough one to try and bring back in 2018.
I'm excited. I want to look this up.
So they actually bring him back as a ghost.
Yeah, the guy falls asleep on his couch, and I think that's what it is. He's too lazy to go out to drink with his friends. His friends call him, and he's like, nah, man, I'm really just not going out tonight. And then he passes out on his couch. So I think it's either a / dream or he's visited by the ghost. I suppose because he's floating above him, like, come on, man, go out and get some beer with your buds, and encourages him to like go out and have some fun and not just like just sit here on the couch and mope. Something to that extent was the commercial, and so he was like, Spuds MacKenzie, like as if I thought you were dead, one of those kind of things.
I am dead.
Yeah, it's kind of like with the like Snake Plissken. I heard you were dead.
I get upset though whenever ever I get attached to an animal in a film, because most of the movies I like are old. So the first thought that always enters my head is that dog's dead.
Oh yeah.
oh, that cat.
Yeah,
dead.
Air Bud got cancer, I think.
Oh no.
That's like Marge Simpson putting up the "hang in there, kitty" thing, and it's like, inspirational, or like, what, 1975? Inspirational or not, that cat is probably long dead.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
The thing is, like, dogs are still big business, though, because they had that movie with Will Arnett, like, Show Dogs, which looked awful, but it was a hit. So I guess people still like talking dogs or anthropomorphic dogs, but, like, I know that one had its problems, because that was the whole... Remember, they had to recall it after the first week because of all the weird molestation stuff in it. Like, where there's a whole thing where, like, because it's all about like an FBI dog going into like a kind of American version of Crufts, and then there was a whole scene apparently where, like, the examine the dogs, they have to like fondle their testicles and stuff, and the dog, much like Danny DeVito in Look Who's Talking Now, you could hear its inner thoughts. And he was just like, oh my God, this is like, he was really freaking out about getting touched when he didn't want to get touched. And then all the other dogs convinced him to go into like this Zen trance or something. And then apparently it came out, a lot of the parents were like, this is like, you're teaching, if any children see this and then they're groomed, they might remember this and be like, oh yeah, like the dog in that movie, you just kind of have to let it happen. Like, it's okay.
Whoa.
So apparently they very swiftly took it out of circulation, cut all of that out, and then redistributed the movie. But the only reason I remember Show Dogs is like, because Will Arnett's in it, and you're like, dude, you can do better than this. What the hell are you doing? And two, all that controversy was just like, holy crap.
That's pretty weird thing to put in there.
Yeah, totally. But of course, Will Arnett, the voice of Lego Batman, so it all ties in, baby.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. It's all connected.
So I guess, the vegetarians don't really care if the Italian restaurant gets taken out. But then...
Well, there's some Italian vegetarian dishes. There's a few.
It's true, few. But the ones that are going to go across the street to the sushi club, I think they're in for a rude awakening.
I'm just imagining now this group of people like, oh, they blew up the Italian place, and all running across to the sushi place like, oh no, that's getting blown up too.
My sushi club membership.
It's like, oh, I hear the hoagie place down the road still going, oh shit, no.
all I can think of in this scene, though, watching a dog with a grenade, right, is that scene in The Predator.
Me and you went to see The Predator quite recently, and I already have no memory of the scene. I was like, there's a dog in The Predator? You know sure?
The weird predator dogs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it becomes friends with the humans, and to help out one of the humans, it brings her a grenade, doesn't it? Or
that's right, yeah.
I think it's a grenade, though.
Yeah, I think it's like Olivia Munn's in a barn at the end. Spoilers for the Predator, people. Yeah, there's something about that too. And they had that inexplicable thing is that it was evil, or it was like a feral dog, and it gets shot in the head, and it brain damaged it into becoming like a nice dog. Which is... Oh, there's a lot of problems in that movie.
I never saw The Predator. I'm waiting for the documentary of what went wrong to come out first.
Oh, that'll be like a 10-part series.
Yeah, that's I'm waiting for the Ken Burns documentary on that.
It needs that treatment. It's that fascinating a disaster in my mind.
Afterwards, Ken Burns is like, next, I'm doing Show Dogs. Talk about the controversies of that.
But then in this film, we get what I can only describe as a montage of chaos and madness. And we get two, I don't know what, ringmaster type fellows harassing a shopkeeper.
Oh, I wrote it down. I think right now we have two types. We have gnome clowns and top hat clowns. But yeah, ringleader clowns are good. Yes, you have ringleader clowns with the top hats, and then gnome clowns with the pointy hats. Yeah,
that's a good one. Gnome clowns. I like that description. That pretty much sums it up perfectly. But
one thing I was wondering, and the thing is, it's hard to tell because these guys seem to be coming in with a lot of firepower. Like they've got rocket launchers and stuff now. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if it was supposed to be implied that this is through Max Schreck now. They can afford all this new firepower.
Ooh.
Or is it that, but at the same time, they afforded that giant empty present earlier in the movie, okay? So if that was supposed to be the implication, I guess maybe they should have downplayed him a bit, made him a bit more rough and tumble at the beginning, or really high-teched up these weapons so it was like lasers or just something like where you're like, did they get it from him, or did they just have these rocket launchers to hand already?
I don't know. I think getting a bazooka is definitely a step up in the world from a giant cardboard present with a trampoline in it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but yeah, but you know, I would have just actually at the same time, I was going to say I would have liked it if they had pointed it out more, but at the same time, I'd imagine if they did, I would be in this position going, they should have just. We're not idiots. Of course, we could piece together that Max Schreck gave them the money for this.
No, I definitely think you're right, though. I've never thought about that. The implication would be he's funding it because it's his idea, the whole thing, the chaos. You know, trash the city, get rid of the mayor. So why would he not give them the weapons or at least the money?
Yeah. I guess he has to too, because then it's like, well, you guys just go out and like, well, what are we gonna do? Just go out with the crowbars and we got a few machine guns. I guess that'll do some damage. Like, oh, okay, fine, I'll get you a bunch of stuff. I do wonder if it's. I'm assuming it's the same day, but because we do see this giant, the clock shop gets hit here. Where obviously this is where Flavor Flav gets his stuff because you get this giant watch in the front. And notice it's 1:30 in the morning, it would seem. So, yeah. Or at least that's what it says on that watch. But,
quite busy streets, considering.
Yeah, this all looks like kind of middle-aged people wandering around, just sort of like, but this is most unorthodox. It's like, you go home, Grandpa. What the hell are you doing out this time? You don't even know what day of the week is. Is this a Saturday night? Is this just Gotham is the city that never sleeps? What's going on?
Yeah, it could be. I suppose the time I went to Hong Kong, I thought Hong Kong was like that. Unless I was just there at a specific time I wasn't aware of. Never slept. Shops were open all the time. I bought a CD at like 2 a.m.
No. To be fair, like, not to go back to, well, I would say not to go back to Berlin, but not to get into the Berlin discussion. But that was very much like that. Berlin city center at 3 a.m. it might as well have just been like 3 p.m. It was just like, yep, everything was just up and running. It's like, why would we waste business hours when we could be making money?
Fair enough. Capitalism. Actually, I love this as well. Batman makes an appearance now. He turns up quite quickly. He's responded very fast to the... maybe it's been going on a bit longer than what we've seen. But he turns up and slams these two sort of ringmastery guys' heads together. Like we're watching 80s wrestling. It's a meeting of the minds.
Yeah, I assumed they had it cordoned out what areas they're going to go. And I assumed they all came out of the sewers like all at once. Like they were all stacked up on a ladder and around different parts of the city, of the commercial district. And just they go, boom, they pop the lid, they come up, they start firing, and it's all like done in one coordinated effort. It's not a big show of, oh, we're riding into town. It's like, no, we all of a sudden we just, bam, we're there. And and then you're right, like we don't have any foreshadowing how Batman gets into town. He's just there.
Yeah. I like that though. I like the way Batman can just appear. Yeah. He's like a phantom. Not the Phantom, thank God.
I'm more of a shadow man myself.
Oh.
But actually, of these two guys, though, the clamps together, I thought for a second that one of them was, we call him Johnny Six Shooter, who we talked about way earlier in the movie. Remember, he was the guy that Batman took out when he was holding Michelle Pfeiffer hostage.
Yes.
It looks just like him. But it's like, that guy, I assume, was arrested because he was just. Were the police that lazy that they couldn't be even. It's like, oh no, they all got away, Batman. Sorry, didn't have time to sweep them up. It's like all the works, they're lying unconscious in the street, Jim. Just go out and get them. No,
maybe
they got away, man.
Maybe Shrek has paid people off at the police department.
Well, could be. But again, we don't know how big the Red Triangle Gang is. We see a few core players, but then these people weren't like upstairs when Shrek went to visit the Penguin earlier. So there's presumably another whole, there's the Red Triangle Gang with day jobs. They're like, oh no, it's more of a passion I do at night, But
this is their hobby.
I think what makes me angry is as Batman's fighting these guys, those two goons get a guy in a trench coat and they just sock him in the gut for no reason. There's not even a robbery of it. They just hold him up to the wall, they sock him in the gut, and then they go, okay, now let's go beat up Batman. It just like angers me so much. I'm like, you clowns. That's all I gotta call you. You clown. You downright scummy clowns.
It lets you know they're evil, damn it.
Yeah.
I do wonder as well that the two clowns harassing the guy in the clock shop, and they come out and they're like happy slapping him on his bald head, which is a bald person. I thought like, oh, it's victimization right there.
Right there, yeah.
But I do wonder if we're seeing the low-key origins of Tim Burton's version of the Clock King, because he's like, oh, I've seen some shit, Batman. That night my shop got destroyed. I saw all these clowns. I went crazy. So now I am the Clock King. He could have been setting up. This was all that stuff you were hearing in the press about, like, oh no, Tim Burton was going to do the Riddler and stuff. No, he was always secretly planning to do the Clock King, and it was always going to be this guy from Batman Returns. You find out that he's actually played by like Brian Doyle Murray or someone who's like, oh yeah, I guess you could cast him as he's kind of a known actor.
Oh, that would have been cool.
I do like the idea of. I mean, I don't know a lot of the origins of some of these Batman goons come from. They kind of become, but I like the idea of like crime is making more crime. So it's like the one gang aggravates a guy who he becomes a ringleader, and he wants to like fight them as much as he wants to fight Batman. He wants to fight them, and so it's just like gangs upon gangs causing gang violence on gang violence of aggravation, and then they all have then they have those moments where they unite against Batman because he's there to stop all the gang crime.
I will say, I think that there's a notable improvement in the fighting in this scene.
Oh god, it's a whole step up. It's crazy different.
Because even though he still can't move his head, this is a Batman that looks like, yeah, this guy's a fighter. Like he'd kick your ass, and like it looks like this is a proper brawl rather than there's nothing particularly all that bad about the alley fight in the first movie, but it was very much like, yeah, he's not, it's a guy in a rubber suit. He can't do that much.
Yeah, they make it work, but if you're analyzing it, there's a noticeable sort of way they're trying to get around the fact he can't really move.
Because his duck is very like, it's a big duck. Like the guy over kicks and Batman's able to duck, but the next guy could have just like socked him right in the ear, like on the next moment.
They do well with it though.
I think I kind of it would have been out already when we did the first season, but I do always think one of my favorite moments of Batman in a fight is in Batman versus Superman, and it's that bit where he's kind of just brawling all those guys in that warehouse, and then a guy actually comes up behind him and shoots him in the back of the head, but obviously because the cowl's reinforced, it doesn't do anything. But Batman just has this moment of like, ah! He just turns around, the guy starts marching towards him. As we're like, you fucking little I just always really enjoyed that as a moment, like, because you can see the guy instantly backing off, like, oh no.
Oh, but the thing I always do, yeah, it's always like, oh, you shoot the guy in the head. Oh, that didn't work. I don't know what to do now. That was my one trick play.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to talk about, like, the rest of what's going on in the minute, because it's like, yes, bunch of fighting, load of fighting for like, it's great to watch. I don't know about analyzing it in detail, but I guess we can try.
It's just generic kung fu treachery from the the ringmasters here. That's about it, though. Lots of brawling, Batman kicking everyone's butt.
Yeah.
It just I just really appreciate Gotham City in this film. I really like how it looks. It has a sheen of just dirt everywhere. All the concrete looks, scummy. There's the trash piled up on signs and on all the poles and in the trash cans. Like, it looks. I mean, this is all built, right? Like, this wasn't a filmed city. This was a complete set, right?
Yeah. It's a set. It's
beautiful set.
Massive. It's ridiculous. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm all noted out for this minute. Unless you guys want to have anything else, so we can move on to the next if you want.
Yeah, I'm excited to come back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm all noted out. So we will head off into the dark night.
I think you're back on Wednesday, Dave.
Oh, thank God! Because I mean, like, after fighting all these goons, I'm gonna have to take a hard nap on Tuesday.
Yeah, it works out well. But before we go, would you like to tell our listeners where they can find you online and your wonderful work?
Oh, yes. If you like to see more justice being served in Champion City, come on down to 5minutesofmystery.com. We talk all about Ben Stiller and William H. Macy, and where they don't have Blue Raja and the Shoveler, Mr. Furious, where they throw forks, they throw shovels, they throw bowling balls, and we save the Champion City from the clutches of Casanova Frankenstein.
So yes, great show and a great movie. And if you'd like to get in touch with us in the meantime, between now and our wonderful next episode, which I'm sure you can't wait for. You can't wait. We are available on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave. And we're on Twitter at Bat Minute. And we're on Instagram too. If you want to be extra nice, if you want to be really, really nice, you can review us on iTunes. So do that, everybody. And we will see you on Wednesday.
Next time, panic on the streets of Gotham. The cavalcade of curious curs continue their criminal campaign, but will the aid of an automated airborne projectile make all their erroneous actions be in vain? It's all terribly mysterious. Find out next time, old boy. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.